So you want to get your head around modern dating, maybe without spending like hours scrolling endless articles.
Yeah, it's a lot out there.
Well, consider this your shortcut. We've pulled together a bunch of different perspectives for you.
Hmm.
We've got classic etiquette from the English Manor, Mark Manson's practical advice.
Right. His philosophy is quite direct.
Yeah, and MJ Manuela's deep dive, she talks about the relationship escalator and some, well, surprising anti-seductive traits.
Oh, yeah, those are fascinating. Counterintuitive, some of them.
And then there are these 9 modern dating rules, sort of forward-thinking stuff.
So, quite a mix.
Exactly. Our mission, to pull out the most, insightful, practical bits to help you navigate dating now without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Sounds good. It's interesting how they all tackle the same thing from such different angles.
It really is. You've got the polite way to do things, and then these really challenging ideas about what might actually work against you.
It's like a panel of, I don't know, very different advisors all chiming in.
Totally. Okay, let's dive right into the foundation, like what actually draws people together.
Okay.
Mark Manson has this core idea. He says attracting the right people isn't really about a checklist or things you do or say.
Hmm. It's more fundamental.
Yeah, much more about who you are, like genuinely expressing your authentic self.
That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? I mean, if you're faking it.
Right. Any connection is built on something false.
So being authentic, even if it means not everyone clicks with you, it boosts the chances of finding someone who likes the real you.
And Manson says a big part of that, of being authentic, is to drop the needy behavior. Okay, but what does that actually look like in real life dating?
Well, think about it. Neediness often comes across as constantly needing reassurance.
Like, do you like me? All the time.
Yeah, or worrying way too much about what they think, maybe changing your opinions to match theirs.
Oh, okay.
It's also that, urge to text constantly, always be available, freaking out if they don't reply instantly.
Right. Gotcha.
Manson's point is, if you value their opinion more than your own self-worth, it can actually, ironically, push them away.
Huh. So it's less about playing games and more about genuinely liking yourself first. If you're secure, you're just less likely to do those things.
Precisely. And it's not just mental. Manson also talks about getting your shit together.
Okay. Sounds a bit blunt.
It does, but
Yeah.
what's the message underneath?
It's about having the basics sorted, right? Like a reasonably stable life.
Yeah, your physical health, mental well-being, finances, maybe your job, or at least having some direction.
It's not about being perfect, though.
No, definitely not. But having some foundation. His argument is, look, if you're constantly struggling with the big life stuff, it can put a strain on a potential partner.
Right, like they have to fix you or something.
Exactly. It's not that you need everything figured out, but having some self-sufficiency, some well-being, it just creates a healthier space to connect. It's about sharing a life, not needing rescue.
Okay, foundation covered. Attraction. Now, let's move to the early stages, the actual dates.
Right. The English Manor Guide has some really practical, almost old-school advice on etiquette here.
And yeah, it might seem traditional, but good etiquette is really just being considerate, showing respect.
Makes sense.
So when you're setting up that first date, they stress clarity. Be clear. What, when, where.
No confusion.
Exactly. And keep it convenient, relaxed for both people.
So no super complicated plans or trekking across town for a first meetup?
Probably not ideal, no. And for the activity itself.
What do they suggest?
Somewhere you can actually talk easily, like a relaxed coffee shop or a casual drink spot that isn't blaring music.
So you can hear each other.
Yeah, the goal is connection, conversation, not battling noise or feeling like you're in a job interview.
Right. Okay, first impressions. Beyond the location.
Well, making an effort with appearance, dress appropriately, not over the top, but not sloppy either.
Find the balance.
But they really stress being on time. Punctuality.
Why is that so important? It just shows you value their time, that you're taking the date seriously. Basic respect, really.
Definitely. And what about phones? We're all glued to them. What's the rule on a first date?
Oh, it's emphatic. Phone away.
Not even on the table.
Nope. Out of sight. Your focus needs to be 100% on your date.
Wow, okay.
And they even say, look, even if you realize pretty quickly there's no spark,
Yeah.
you still owe them your attention for that time. No monosyllabic replies, no checking out.
Be present, even if it's a no-go long-term. Got it.
What about conversation boundaries early on?
Yeah.
It's tempting to dig deep fast.
The advice is Keep it light. Keep it fun initially.
So avoid the heavy stuff.
Yeah, don't dive into past traumas, intense political arguments, or your detailed financial history on date one.
Okay.
Also, don't ask super personal questions right away. And definitely don't bring up stuff you maybe found out from stalking their Instagram.
Oh, good point. Let them share it themselves.
Exactly. It respects privacy, lets things build naturally.
And if you are eating, table manners. Beyond the obvious. Yeah, they mentioned ordering something easy to eat, nothing too messy.
Good tip.
Don't be overly critical about the place or the food. And maybe don't pretend to be a massive wine expert unless you really are and it fits.
Oh, how right.
Drink responsibly, obviously. And try to pace your eating with your date. It's just about being pleasant, considerate.
Okay, so that's navigating the first date etiquette. Now, MJ and Manuela brings up this concept, the relationship escalator. What's that about?
Think of it like the typical path people imagine dating follows.
Steps.
Yeah, steps. From the very first contact all the way up to, a committed long-term thing.
Yeah.
Manuela breaks down these stages and what they usually imply.
Okay, and the first step on this escalator is just talking.
Right. And for Emanuela, talking is that early phase. Consistent texting, maybe some flirting, maybe hinting at meeting up. But she stresses, very little commitment here. Definitely no expectation of exclusivity. It's just gauging interest, seeing if there's enough there for an actual date.
So just swapping messages doesn't mean you're dating?
Not according to this model, no. A first date might come next.
Okay.
But Emanuela is super clear. One date is not dating.
When does it become dating then?
It only turns into dating if both people keep investing. More dates get planned, communication stays consistent. There's a clear sign you're both exploring something.
Ah, okay.
She even differentiates between a date, a casual meetup, and just hanging out. The intention matters.
Interesting distinction. Okay, then moving up. Dating exclusively, what's that look like?
This is usually where monogamy comes in. You're spending regular time together, maybe more casual hangouts too. There's a mutual understanding.
Yeah.
We're not seeing other people.
People probably know about it.
Yeah, friends, maybe family, know about this person. It's a definite step up in commitment, even if you haven't had the what are we talk yet.
And the top is in a relationship. Seems clear. But she also mentions those gray areas, like friends with benefits, situationships.
Yes, and she's pretty firm here. She basically argues that anything that would be a relationship except for some key thing like commitment or a clear label, well, it just isn't a relationship.
So no fudging it.
Right. These relationship except that things often lack clarity and can end up causing confusion, maybe hurt, for at least one person.
Okay, that escalator model helps frame things. Now, Emanuela also talks about these anti-seductive traits. This sounds counterintuitive.
It really is. She lists things that, maybe surprisingly, she thinks can actually decrease your attractiveness in modern dating.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, she mentions composure as potentially anti-seductive.
Wait, composure, isn't playing it cool supposed to be good?
That's the paradox. Her point is, maybe in a world where everyone's scared of seeming too keen, someone who's too composed, too cool, might seem uninterested or even arrogant.
Yeah.
But then right after, she says obvious desperation is also a massive turnoff. So it's this incredibly fine line.
Wow. Like you have to show just enough interest, but not too much. Tricky. What else is on this anti-seductive list?
Dealing with someone in a group chat, meaning people want individual attention.
Makes sense.
Also, texting back regularly.
Seriously, texting back is bad.
Apparently, for some, it can make you seem too available. It suggests this weird dynamic where being slightly harder to get is seen as more desirable.
That's frustrating.
Tell me about it. Even having a life, your own friends, hobbies, she says, can paradoxically be seen negatively by someone insecure.
They want you all to themselves immediately.
Seems like it, sometimes. She also lists vulnerability shared too early. Some people get the ick if you open up too much before trust is built.
Okay, what else? This is wild.
Being too funny. You risk being friend-zoned. Making unnecessary sexual jokes too soon. Telling unintelligent lies. Emphasis on unintelligent. Having unhealthy habits if the other person doesn't share them. And the classic conflicting expectations around sex, doing it too soon or waiting too long, can both be judged.
It's impossible.
It highlights how subjective it all is. And then two real curveballs. Having clear standards and boundaries. Apparently that can intimidate some people.
Having standards is bad.
Can be perceived that way, yeah. And get this. Not being medium ugly.
Wait, what? Being too attractive is bad?
According to this perspective, yes. It can make insecure people feel intimidated, maybe where you'll cheat or feel inadequate.
Not being medium ugly. I can't get over that one. That's qu quite a take.
It's provocative, right? Really makes you think about the weird psychology sometimes at play.
This whole anti-seductive list definitely shows how complex and, yeah, counterintuitive dating can be. Okay, let's shift. Attachment theory. Emanuela brings this up too.
Right. Attachment theory basically is the idea that how we bonded with our parents or caregivers when we were tiny shapes, how we do relationships as adults.
Okay.
She mentions the four main styles: secure, avoidant, anxious, and the combo: fearful, anxious, avoidant. Each has its own patterns.
And how do these play out in dating, according to her?
Well, she links it back to those relationship definitions. Secure folks. They tend to be comfortable in clear, defined relationships, often with other secure people.
And others,
People with less secure styles, maybe anxious or avoidant, might find themselves more often in those undefined situationships, the gray areas. It sort of mirrors their own internal anxieties or fears of closeness or abandonment.
she also says something pretty direct, like sometimes you are the problem. It's not always the other person.
Yeah, she does. She calls out behaviors like dodging the difficult talks, jumping to worst case scenarios, being flaky, playing hot and cold.
Things people do.
Exactly. Things people do that can sabotage connections, often rooted in their attachment style.
So it's about self-awareness, recognizing your own patterns.
Big time. And her advice for fostering more security.
What does she suggest?
Things like, don't mistake drama for passion. Don't put all your self-worth eggs in the romance basket. Really work on self-awareness.
And crucially, have the honest talks, even when they're awkward. Talk about feelings, expectations, and accept people's behavior for what it is. Don't constantly try to decode it.
Sounds like a call for more emotional maturity, really. Being straight up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And speaking of being straight up, Emanuela is big on asking those direct questions, like the classic, what are we?
The scary question.
Right. She really pushes back against that cool girl or cool guy thing, acting like you don't care, you don't need clarity,
Yeah.
because you're afraid of seeming needy.
Yeah, that pressure is real.
Her point is, someone genuinely interested in a healthy connection, they'll actually welcome that clarity. It's the people who want ambiguity who get weird about it.
That makes sense. And that fits perfectly with the 9 modern dating rules source too, right? They stress being honest about your needs from the start.
Exactly. No mind games.
It's just confusing and often hurtful.
Totally. Clear expectations, open communication, even if it feels vulnerable. It's just respectful to yourself and them. Mark Manson hits this too, talk about setting boundaries.
For your own emotional well-being.
Yeah. Recognizing red flags early, like lack of respect, crazy jealousy, dishonesty, someone pushing intimacy way too fast.
Signs your boundaries are being ignored.
And if someone keeps ignoring them, especially early on, Manson says that's a huge sign things probably won't get better. You got to be willing to walk away to protect your peace.
Okay, definitely important. Now let's look at some maybe more forward-thinking ways to approach dating. Esther Perel's ideas in the 9 rule source.
Ah, yes, peril. She has some great points about moving beyond the standard interview date.
What does she mean?
She points out that sitting across a table firing questions can feel really static, kind of sterile. It can kill genuine connection.
So what's the alternative?
She suggests bringing movement and shared experiences into dates, especially early ones.
Like
Going for a walk, trying a dance class together, checking out a street fair, doing something playful, an activity.
why does that help?
Well, doing something together breaks the ice, makes people less self-conscious, gives you something to focus on besides just talk, talk, talk.
Lets you see different sides of them.
Exactly, in a
Yes.
more natural setting. Plus, shared experiences create actual memories, give you more interesting things to talk about later.
I like that. She also talks about integrating dating into your life, not keeping it separate and high pressure.
What does that look like?
Instead of always planning these formal one-on-one dates, she suggests maybe inviting someone to join you for things you already do.
Like with your friends.
Yeah, or just part of your routine. Going to a regular trivia night or a group hike, it lowers the stakes.
And you see how they fit with your existing life, your friends.
Right. It's more natural, less intense than just the curated dating bubble.
That makes a lot of sense.
She also suggests rethinking the whole timeline thing, being okay with uncertainty.
Resisting the pressure to rush to labels and, relationship milestones.
Exactly. Focus on actually building a connection, enjoying getting to know them, even if the future isn't crystal clear right away. Let it breathe.
Keep it exciting that way.
And a really key piece of her advice: Stay open-minded. Ditch the checklists.
Ah, the infamous checklist.
Perel argues being too rigid about your type or your list of must-haves can make you miss out on someone amazing who just doesn't tick every single box.
So approach it with curiosity instead.
Yeah. Be open to being surprised. You might find connection where you least expect it.
Good advice.
And practically speaking, the 9 rules also echo the idea of meeting people, offline, in the real world.
Oh, yeah. Get off the apps sometimes. Not that apps are bad, but relying only on them can get exhausting. Feels transactional.
So where else?
Meeting people through hobbies, interests, join a club, take a workshop, volunteer. You start with common ground. It can feel more organic.
Right. And the idea of taking it slow comes up again, like a 3-month rule.
Yeah, giving things time before making it official. What's the thinking there?
Well, the idea is to get past that initial, maybe intense infatuation phase. See someone's real personality, spot any potential red flags you might miss in the early excitement.
Build something on more than just initial chemistry.
Exactly. A more considered approach.
Okay, and running through all of this like a common thread is just respect.
Absolutely fundamental. Doesn't matter which source you look at, respect is non-negotiable.
That means really listening, honoring boundaries, physical, emotional, valuing their feelings.
Consent, obviously. Enthusiastic consent.
Yes, it's the bedrock for a healthy relationship or even just a decent dating experience.
Okay, nearly there. Let's quickly hit the practical money question. Who pays?
Ah, the age-old dilemma.
The English Manor Guide gives a few options, right?
Yeah, they acknowledge the traditional view. Guy offers on a mixed-gender date, chivalry, etc.
But also the modern tick.
Right, the person who asks for the date pays, or, pragmatically, if it's clear there's no connection, suggesting splitting the bill, going Dutch, is okay.
So communication helps avoid awkwardness.
Pretty much, and follow-up after the date. Games or no games?
Definitely no games. According to the etiquette guide, if you had a good time, want to see them again?
Just send a message saying so. Be direct.
And if they paid last time?
Offer to get the next one. Shows consideration, equal interest.
Simple enough. Okay, last couple of points. Long distance and breakups. Briefly.
Emanuela touches on LDRs. The challenges.
Like what?
Like how texting and calls are great, but can create a different vibe than being in person. And how actual meetups are non-negotiable. You need that physical presence.
Technology isn't quite enough on its own.
Not for building deep intimacy now. Regular visits are key.
And breakups. Sadly, part of dating sometimes.
Yeah. Emanuela's take is, it's rarely easy, but being direct and honest is usually the kindest way, even if it feels harsh in the moment.
No ghosting, no slow fade.
Not ideal, no.
Yeah.
Clarity, even difficult clarity, lets the other person start to process and move on. And she also mentions no contact post-breakup.
For healing.
Yeah, to avoid confusion, mixed signals, let yourself actually move forward.
Wow. Okay. We have covered so much ground. A real deep dive into modern dating.
We really have.
If you had to boil it down, what's the main takeaway for someone trying to figure all this out?
Gosh. I mean, it really seems to be a mix, right? It's knowing yourself, what you need, self-awareness, communicating that clearly, respectfully, treating others well, and just being willing to learn as you go. It's complex.
Yeah, we've seen everything from first date politeness to deep psychology, attachment styles, even those weird anti-seductive things.
It's a really multifaceted picture.
Yeah.
And it definitely shows there's no single magic formula.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what actually resonates with you, with your values, your experiences.
Right. So, final thought for everyone listening. Thinking about all these different angles, the etiquette, the psychology, the practical tips, the counterintuitive stuff, what single piece of advice or perspective on modern dating do you find the most challenging? Or maybe the most insightful for where you're at?
Ooh, good question to ponder.
Yeah, give that some thought. And thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today.